Have you ever wondered why, in every recession, the poor seem to lose everything while the rich somehow come out even stronger? Why is it that when the economy falls apart, jobs disappear, businesses close, and markets crash, the wealthy always seem to walk away with more money than before? Is it luck? Is it unfair advantage? Or do they simply know something that most people don't? Today I want to reveal to you the truth. There are 8 things rich people do in a recession that the poor almost never think about. These are not secrets you need to be a billionaire to use. They are principles anyone can understand, but very few apply. And the difference is massive. If you apply them, the next big recession coming by the end of this year will not scare you anymore, especially with the 7th thing, which the millionaires absolutely don't want you to know. So leave a like and let's start. The first thing rich people do in a recession is they stay calm while everyone else panics. When the news is screaming about disaster, when friends are selling everything, when neighbours are scared about losing their homes, most people panic. They stop thinking clearly. They sell at the worst time. They freeze, not knowing what to do. But the rich know that panic is the enemy of wealth. They understand that recessions are temporary. They know storms pass. Imagine 2 sailors in the middle of the sea. One screams, throws food overboard, and sails blindly, making things worse. The other tightens the ropes, studies the waves, and patiently waits for the storm to weaken. Who do you think survives? The wealthy survive because they remain calm. They don't let emotions drive their decisions. While the poor are selling their stocks at a loss, the rich are watching patiently, ready to buy. Calmness turns chaos into opportunity. That's why staying rational is the first great difference between the two. And which of the two are you usually? Let me know in the comments. The second thing rich people do in a recession is they buy assets while they're cheap. For most people, when prices fall, it looks terrifying. Stocks go down, real estate drops, businesses collapse, and they think it's the end. But for the rich, it looks like a sale. Think of it this way. If you walk into your favourite store and see something you've always wanted selling for 70% off, would you run away? Or would you be excited to grab it at a discount? That's exactly how the wealthy view assets in a downturn. When the housing market collapsed in 2008, many people lost everything, but those with cash bought houses for half the price. Years later, those homes doubled or tripled in value. The poor saw disaster. The rich saw discounts. This is why their wealth seems to explode after every crisis. They buy stocks when everyone else is too afraid. They buy land when prices are crushed. They buy businesses that others are desperate to sell. And when the economy recovers, as it always does, their patience pays off. Buying when others are afraid is one of the simplest but most powerful wealth strategies in history. The third thing rich people do in a recession is they use fear as a weapon for negotiation. When the world panics, companies, banks, and even landlords become desperate. Desperate to keep clients, desperate to keep money flowing, desperate to survive. And desperation opens the door to negotiation. The wealthy understand this. They know that during a downturn, almost everything can be renegotiated. Loans, rents, supplier contracts, even personal bills. Imagine you are renting a building and 5 tenants just left because of the crisis. If you ask for a discount, your landlord will almost always agree because they'd rather get something than nothing. Now multiply this idea by millions of dollars. Rich people refinance their loans at better rates. They restructure business deals. They pick up the phone and push for terms they could never have dreamed of before. The poor rarely think of this. They simply accept whatever terms they're given. But the rich, they see fear as a chance to unlock better deals. Every dollar saved through negotiation becomes another dollar that can be invested elsewhere. That's how, even in bad times, they build stronger positions. Recessions open cracks in the system, and the wealthy know exactly how to slip through them. We will get even deeper in this in the 6th thing. The 4th thing rich people do in a recession is they acquire businesses and infrastructure. This might sound like something only billionaires can do, but it's not limited to the ultra-rich. When a downturn hits, many businesses don't fail because their products are bad. They fail because they run out of cash. And when that happens, their value drops like a stone. wealthy individuals step in. They buy not just equipment or property, but fully working businesses with trained employees, customer lists, and systems already in place, all at a fraction of their worth. Imagine buying a restaurant with furniture, a kitchen, and staff ready to serve, but paying only half the cost because the owner couldn't keep up with bills. For large corporations, this scales even bigger. They wait for weaker competitors to crumble, then scoop them up cheap. Think of airlines or cruise companies in past recessions. Planes and ships didn't suddenly lose value, but the companies running them couldn't keep going. That's when the strong stepped in. Poor people see collapse as the end. Rich people see collapse as a clearance sale of opportunities. That's why they come out owning more when the dust settles. You've already seen how the rich stay calm, buy assets cheap, negotiate better deals, and acquire businesses during recessions. But that's only half of the story. There are 4 more powerful moves the wealthy make when the economy crashes. And these are the ones that truly separate them from everyone else, especially the 7th one. These strategies are not complicated, but they require a certain mindset, one that refuses to let fear rule their decisions. Let's continue. The 5th thing rich people do in a recession is they buy real estate when others are forced to sell. For most people, property is the biggest investment of their life. They buy a house with a mortgage, hoping to pay it off slowly over decades. But when a recession hits, many can't keep up with payments. Banks knock on the door, developers get stuck with unsold apartments, and suddenly the market is flooded with opportunities. The wealthy love this moment. They know that real estate is one of the safest and most profitable assets you can own over the long run. So when prices crash, they step in. They buy houses, apartments, land, and even commercial properties at discounts so deep it feels unreal. In 2008, regular families were losing homes, but investors who bought at those lows are still cashing in today, either through rent or through massive appreciation. Think about it. If you could buy the apartment you live in for half its price, wouldn't you? The rich know that property always recovers, because people will always need a place to live and work. So while the poor are being pushed out of the market, the wealthy are silently expanding their empires. The 6th thing rich people do in a recession is they borrow money cheaply to multiply their opportunities. This might sound strange, borrowing money when the world is falling apart. But here's the secret. When a recession hits, central banks often lower interest rates to almost zero. They do this to stimulate the economy, to get people spending again. And who do you think benefits the most? The ones with excellent credit and strong track records. In other words, the rich. Banks, desperate for business, practically beg them to take loans at incredibly low interest rates. Imagine being able to borrow millions with almost no cost, while others can't even get approved for a small loan. The wealthy take this money and use it to buy even more assets at recession prices. They refinance their old debts on better terms. They lock in decades of cheap money that will work for them long after the crisis ends. The poor, on the other hand, often can't access credit because their finances are already fragile. So while one side drowns in debt, the other side uses debt as a weapon to expand their empire. This is why you'll often hear the saying, the rich use debt to get richer, the poor use debt to get poorer. Recessions highlight this difference more than any other time. And if you also usually hear the phrase, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, you will find out in the 8th thing why. The 7th thing rich people do in a recession is they protect themselves against inflation and currency risks. Governments have one main tool when the economy crashes. They print more money. It sounds like a quick fix, but it always comes with a dangerous side effect: inflation. When too much money floods the system, the value of every dollar drops. Prices rise, savings shrink, and those who hold only cash lose purchasing power. The rich are terrified of this, and they act quickly. They move money into gold, silver, and sometimes cryptocurrencies. They diversify into stronger currencies, like the Swiss franc or Norwegian krone, which tend to hold value better in uncertain times. They even place assets offshore, away from unstable economies. Think of it like a chess game. While most people are stuck on one square, hoping their savings survive, the rich are spreading their pieces across the board, ready for any move the economy makes. Inflation eats away at the poor because their money sits still. The rich are shielded because their wealth is spread out and protected. This is why you'll notice that no matter how much money governments print, somehow the wealthy always stay ahead. They don't just react to inflation, they prepare for it long before it arrives. The eighth thing rich people do in a recession is they seize rare opportunities that only appear in crises. This final point is the most fascinating because it goes beyond numbers. During recessions, unusual chances pop up that would never appear in normal times. Art collectors are forced to sell paintings. Owners of luxury cars or rare items suddenly need cash and part with treasures at low prices. Even entire startups can be bought for a fraction of what they'd be worth in good times. Think of the companies born after the 2008 crash: Uber, Airbnb, and others that are now household names. Investors who spotted them early made fortunes. The wealthy are always watching for these rare windows. They have lists of assets they dream of owning: an estate, a rare car, a piece of art. And when recessions hit, some of those items finally become available. They also pour money into sectors that thrive during downturns, like food delivery, online entertainment, or healthcare. In every crisis, there are businesses that explode in growth. The poor focus only on survival. The rich focus on expansion, on capturing the rare gems that appear only when fear is at its peak. This is what makes recessions not just survivable for them, but transformational. Now you've seen all 8 things. When recessions hit, the poor tighten their belts and pray it will end soon. But the wealthy treat it as a season of harvest. They stay calm while others panic. They buy assets cheap. They negotiate better deals. They acquire businesses. They scoop up real estate. They borrow money at record low rates. They protect themselves against inflation. And they seize rare opportunities that only show up in moments of crisis. It might feel unfair, but this is the truth. Recessions widen the gap between the rich and the poor, because the rich know that downturns are not the end of the world. They are just resets. They are moments when wealth quietly changes hands. And the ones who understand this, the ones who are prepared, are the ones who walk away wealthier than ever. The real question is, which side will you choose to stand on the next time the storm hits? Will you panic or will you prepare? Will you subscribe to stay always updated or not? The answer might decide not just how you survive the recession, but how you live for decades afterward. See you soon. Just a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor. This video is for educational purposes only, and any results depend on your own decisions and actions.